Does your community have control over its technological destiny? Do you care? You might oughta, because based on the way you and your community leaders view technology, your community's destiny will go in one of three directions. You could become a technological leader and launch yourself onto the global stage. Or you could let your budgets dictate your opportunities instead of innovating new business models. Or you could view technology as a sometimes very frustrating but necessary evil, in which case businesses and residents will go elsewhere to thrive. It's that important. This community, Augusta, Georgia, it's about 2 hours away from the ocean. We're not getting a beach anytime soon. We won't be building high-rise hotels and advertising our spectacular ocean views. Not going to happen. However, in a global and digital economy, technology is a key factor that almost any community can leverage to create success. And technology is only going to become more and more important as new discoveries are made. You can't stop the future. This plane is only going in one direction. You not only want to be on it, you want to be in the cockpit. Science fiction author William Gibson once said, "The future, it's already here. It's just not evenly distributed yet." What he meant by that is that the future has already happened. It's just that not everyone is aware of it or has access to it. Let's take a look at some of the future that's really already here. Do you think it's possible that 10% of New York City's residents might want to stream a movie all at the same time? Say, I don't know, 8 o'clock on a Friday or Saturday night? This will happen, and when it does, it'll take down every network in New York. We're not ready for that future. Did you know that by the year 2018, it's estimated, and that's just 2 years from now, people, that there'll be over 9 billion devices connected to the internet? And I'm not just talking about your iPhone, your iPad, your MacBook, oh my. I'm talking about your washer and dryer, your refrigerator, your oven, your Nest thermostat, your home security system. And they're all going to be sending you messages about what's going on at home. And they'll all be talking to each other. Your refrigerator, we're out of milk again, putting it on the shopping list. Your oven, hey, it's dark in here. What's a guy gotta do to get a bulb? Your home security system, hey, she hasn't looked at Nanny Cam in like 3 days. I'm putting that on her calendar. And what kind of mother is she anyway? So your appliances and your applications will all be talking to each other, probably about you, behind your back. And computers will be millions of times faster. They're coming at this from so many different directions, it's impossible that it won't happen. Right now, they're working on quantum computing and squeezing light and 3D computer chips and magnetized gold, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria, massive speed. And when our devices become millions of times faster, they'll be processing millions of times more information. And that will make our lives so much richer and immersive and exciting. And the thing that ties all of this together is broadband internet. Broadband simply meaning big pipe. We are going to need some big pipes to get all this data where it needs to go. My hope is to convince you, if you're not convinced already, that broadband internet is as important an infrastructure to the success of a community as roads, electricity, and water. You might be thinking to yourself, okay, let's say I buy that. What can I do? How can I help my community focus on technology and broadband internet so that we can change our stars? Well, all communities want basically the same things, right? We want good quality of life, great education for our kids, economic development, jobs, workforce development, good health care, safety, etc. Let's talk about just two of those, great education for our kids and workforce development, because they dovetail together. I don't need to define for this audience probably the term digital divide. You've heard it. It's been around for years. At this point, decades, but sadly, we are still raising children with no access to the internet at home. And don't say smartphone to me. You cannot write a 3-page report on a cell phone. It's trying to like cutting your lawn with a pair of scissors. Not going to get her done. You've got one student who's running down to the library, therefore, after school to book an hour on a computer. That's probably not very fast because libraries don't have very big budgets. And she's not very fast using it because she doesn't have this technology embedded in her home life. And you've got this student who is tweaking the animations on her PowerPoint presentation on the computer in her bedroom. Do you think these two kids will ever compete with each other in the workforce? Likely not. Likely, this student will always be a digital immigrant. She will never speak tech as a first language. This student is already a digital native. She speaks tech fluently. In a digital economy, all of our kids deserve this opportunity. Luckily, there are programs to help us solve this disparity. One of my favorites is called Connect to Compete. It's a program offered by the Federal Communications Commission. I was part of a public-private partnership that launched this program in Macon, Georgia. We connected thousands of low-income school kids and their families to the internet at home with a real computer affordably. As a result of also putting together all the technology training assets in the community to teach these kids and their parents to use the internet usefully, wisely, and safely, the majority of the parents, as the kids aged out of the program, continued to subscribe to the internet at a higher price because they finally understood the value proposition and the need. And the private internet provider that partnered with us on this program discovered a new market creation strategy. Win, win, win. And this program is ready to launch in this community right now. The website is already up. All we have to do is form a public-private partnership with the will to activate it. I volunteer to be on that team right now. Please join me. And that's not all. Let's talk about economic development, business attraction, jobs. This is Lafayette, Louisiana. Well, it's Cypress Lake in Lafayette. Beautiful, isn't it? Some years ago, Lafayette decided to build their own ultra-high-speed broadband network and offer access to it to local businesses and residents. As a result, the film production industry moved into the community because not only is it a beautiful place to shoot, but now they could send their really large video files expeditiously and affordably back to California. Economic growth, business attraction, increase in the tax base, jobs. Great success story based on technology and broadband internet. And these best practices are all over the place. Look at Chattanooga, Tennessee. Woo! They built the world's first community-wide gigabit network. That means everybody in the community has access to these huge speeds. So now, high school students in Chattanooga are being taught live by University of Southern California marine biology professors who are sending them high resolution video from a thing called a digital cinema microscope, which is only available in California. And those kids have now seen things that you and I have never seen. You know how much grant money is available for this stuff? We just have to take the first step. Look at Miami, birthplace of the South Florida Digital Alliance. We launched the Alliance in 2008 in order to lower internet access costs and other network service costs to our anchor institutions, healthcare, government, education. Then we took those proceeds and we invested them in building public technology learning centers where we could teach people how to use computers. And then those anchor institutions, when they started updating their equipment, they gave us their old equipment and we refurbished it and put it back into the community, into the schools, senior citizen centers, and the technology learning centers. Look at Cleveland, Ohio. Look at San Diego, California. We do not need to reinvent this wheel. We can rip it off. And this is happening, of course, all over the world. New Taipei City, Taiwan, they were having trouble getting broadband internet access to their residents. So they formed a public-private partnership, and they were able to accelerate network deployment. As a result, 91% of households in New Taipei City are connected to broadband internet today, as compared, by the way, to 70 to 71% of residents in this country. And here's my favorite part of that story. 87% of those households subscribe to speeds of 100 megabits per second. Anybody in here have 100 megabit connected to the internet in your house? Just me? Y'all can come over. Why do you think Google is building gigabit networks all over the country? Because they know what we need: bigger pipes. Today, not tomorrow. I spoke to a society of CIOs in Miami, Chief Information Officers. I asked them, if you had a gigabit connection to the internet, what would you do with it? They all just kind of stared at me, slack-jawed. They had absolutely no idea. They already had as much bandwidth as their budgets would allow. They couldn't even imagine such a world. You can help your communities and your organizations take the blinders off and see the possibilities. They're a Google search away. I encourage you to think of technology not as a department, not as a project, but as critical infrastructure that underpins everything that makes a community successful. Now that you've seen the vision, I hope that you will go back and help your community and your organizations become technological leaders and be well prepared for the future that is already here. Thank you. Thank you.